Divine revelation, you are not the observer. Discover the miraculous truth of your sacred self. In the heart of an English village, Margaret stood at St. Mary's Chapel, the sunlight spilling through the stained glass, casting bursts of color that danced like angels around her. Her heart raced as whispers of the divine wrapped around her. This was no ordinary day, it was a day of miracles. You are not the observer, the scriptures seemed to echo in her spirit, the key to transformation is within you. Her soul ignited with a fervor that felt almost electric. Miraculous moments sprouted as she found herself enveloped in the warmth of her community. Gentle hands clasped in prayer, eyes glistening with the hopeful tears of faith, and the sound of hymns rising like incense to the heavens. Just last Sunday, as they sang Amazing Grace, the very air shimmered, and Margaret swore she felt heaven's breath upon her neck. It felt as if angels hovered, eager to witness the powerful connection of faith weaving through them, but even amidst this exquisite atmosphere, an undercurrent of despair tugged at Margaret's heart. David, her brilliant, spirited son, was lost in shadows. It was a darkness that had grown since the accident, a fate that weighed on her like heavy chains. Yet, with every prayer uttered in the sacred sanctuary, a faint light flickered within her, urging her to rise against doubt. As the days rolled toward the harvest festival, the chapel's gentle embrace became her sanctuary. On one particularly soft afternoon, sunlight filtered through the intricate glass, bathing her in divine clarity. In the stillness of her prayer, a message flowed like sweet wine into her very core: you hold the key to your sacred self. Do you hear my cry, Lord? She whispered, her heart pounding with desperation and hope. Let our love lift David from despair. It was a call that resonated deep within her community as Margaret rallied them, igniting fervent prayers that became like wildfire, spreading from door to door. Suddenly, villagers who once felt distant were now united, each household committed to petitioning God, their faith intertwining like golden threads. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The harvest festival dawned bright and clear, a beautiful canvas painted with hope. As she stood outside the chapel, anticipation pulsed in the air like a heartbeat. The villagers surrounded her, their faces a tapestry of faith. Laughter threaded with prayers, their voices creating a symphony of thanksgiving to God. As the doors swung open, revealing a bounty of autumn's gifts, a hush fell over the crowd. All eyes turned toward the far edge of the gathering. There David stood, his presence an electric charge, vulnerability flickering in his gaze. It felt as if the very heavens held their breath. As Margaret caught his eye, she reached out, her heart yearning to pull him back from the brink of despair. Would the collective prayers be enough to shatter the darkness that threatened to swallow them whole? Or did an even greater challenge await them both? Margaret's heart raced as she met David's gaze. Time felt suspended, the world around them fading as her love enveloped him like a warm embrace. She took a step forward, her spirit ignited by an urge to bridge the chasm that had formed since that tragic day. The villagers held their breath, the energy shifting as hope and fear intertwined in the air. David! She exclaimed, the word pouring from her heart. We are here for you together, we can face this darkness. His eyes, once bright with the spark of life, now bore the weight of shadows. He hesitated, standing amid a sea of well-meaning faces, each one a reminder of what he felt he had lost. Yet, deep within him, the flicker of connection ignited by the community's prayers danced softly, battling against despair. The village reverberated with a gentle spirit as people began to step closer, forming an unbroken circle around him. Hands reached out, joined in prayer, and murmurs of support swirled like fragrant incense rising to God. Margaret felt the tug of the collective faith, a tapestry woven from shared trials and triumphs. Lord, she whispered under her breath, let your love flow through us like a river returning to its source. May it wash over David and carry him home. In that moment, she closed her eyes, surrendering to a sacred silence. The murmurs of the villagers crescendoed, filling the chapel's ancient walls with energy. As if responding to their pleas, the autumn sun burst through a break in the clouds. Beams of light streamed down, illuminating David's face, casting a halo around him that dazzled the senses. An elderly woman stepped forward, her voice tender yet firm. "David," she called, "you are never alone. Your battle is ours. Trust in the strength of love that binds us." The sincerity in her tone struck deep, chipping away at the fortress of despair that surrounded him. Margaret felt a surge of divine assurance, a sweet certainty settling over her spirit. She reached out her hand, beckoning him nearer. "Come, David. Let us not fight this battle separately. The love we share is stronger than any darkness." For a moment, everything hung in the balance: the hopes of a mother, the prayers of a community, and the silent struggle of a son. David's eyes shimmered with the distant light of recognition, as if he was just beginning to remember the warmth of their bond. Slowly, he took a step, then another, moving toward the outstretched hands reaching for him. Tears streamed down his cheeks, each drop a testament to a battle fought and the strength needed to embrace love anew. As the villagers wrapped him in their arms, Margaret's heart soared. It was the moment of connection they had been praying for, the point where hope broke through despair. Yet, as joy surged, a new fear flickered in the recesses of her mind. Would this be enough to sustain him? Would this moment alone banish the shadows lurking at the edges? "Lord, I believe you have a greater plan for David," she prayed silently, "but what will it look like?" The festival around them resumed, laughter and joy rising like fragrant flowers in the air. But for Margaret, the real miracle was only just beginning. David's journey back to the light had only begun. As she hugged her son close, a shiver of anticipation ran through her. What challenges lay ahead? Would their love withstand the trials to come? The sun slipped lower in the sky, casting golden light upon their faces, and within her heart, a new question began to unfurl: what revelation would they discover together on this sacred path? As the sun dipped below the horizon, an ethereal glow wrapped around David and Margaret, an affirmation of the divine embrace holding them both. It felt as though time paused once more in the golden light, a moment suspended between yesterday's pain and tomorrow's promise. The air hung thick with unspoken prayers, and in the hearts of those gathered, anticipation swelled. Margaret could see the flicker of determination igniting within David's eyes, a spark daring to break free from the shadows that had cloaked him for so long. She held tightly to his hand, anchoring him in this fragile new hope. "Do you feel it, my son?" she asked softly, sensing the pulse of something greater swelling around them. "The love, the spirit, it's right here. It's been waiting for you." Her voice trembled slightly, the weight of her yearning punctuated by the glow of her faith. David paused, uncertainty still hanging in the corners of his expression. What if I am unworthy of this?" His voice cracked, revealing years of turmoil that had eroded his confidence. Each word felt like a confession, each breath a wrestle with the daunting notion of worthiness. "Listen," she replied, squeezing his hand gently. "None of us is worthy on our own. But in Christ, we are given grace, reborn with purpose. It's through community that we discover this truth. You are not alone in this." The rhythm of their hearts synchronized, the steady beat of hope entwining with the fragile pulse of fear. As the villagers surrounded them, their love was palpable, a living testament to the potential beauty that flourished in their shared faith. A ripple of energy surged through the crowd as an old man stepped forward, eyes clouded yet brimming with wisdom. "Dear David," he called, his voice craggy but resonant, "the darkness may seem heavy, but know this: light can pierce the deepest shadows." The simple words, steeped in years of knowing struggle, acted as a balm. The crowd echoed his sentiment, hands raised in prayer, faces illuminated by hope and belief. It was as though their collective faith was a tapestry, vibrant and strong. Each voice added color to David's spirit, each prayer a thread weaving him back to the fabric of life. Margaret glanced around, taking in the beauty of their bond. Each villager had faced their own trials, yet here they were, united. "Look, David," she said softly, see the hearts around you. They understand. They have fought their battles and found victory not alone, but together. In that moment, something shifted in David. He straightened, his breath steadying. A veil of heaviness seemed to lift. Hope began to weave its way through the very marrow of his being, unfurling a longing for restoration. Will you let us walk alongside you? Margaret asked, her voice echoing a prayer. Will you step into the light? His gaze met hers, a new resolve sparking the iridescent glow of an awakening heart. Yes, he whispered, his voice full of trembling courage. I want to be free. As those words hung in the air, a soft wind whispered through the gathering, rustling leaves and filling the chapel with a divine melody that seemed to echo amid the fallen light. The spirit of the festival transformed, taking on a sacred character that shone brighter than any joy before. Yet amid the warmth blossoming in their hearts, a cloud of uncertainty still lingered. Would this new courage bear fruit? What obstacles awaited them in the days to come? The light flickered, casting shadows that danced just beyond their joy. Margaret felt an unsettling churn within her soul. Lord, she murmured in the silence, what lies ahead for us on this sacred path? Above them, the stars began to twinkle in the deepening dark, a reminder of hope in vastness. And with those sparkling hints of eternity, a question emerged: what other revelations awaited just beyond their horizon, waiting to be uncovered in faith? A hush blanketed the gathering as the last rays of the sun melted into the horizon. The night sky deepened, revealing a multitude of stars, each twinkling like whispers of hope. David stood at the center, heart brimming with newfound resolve, surrounded by those who believed in him. Their faces illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns, each expression reflected the unwavering faith that enveloped him. Now, Margaret breathed, pulling him gently forward. It's time to embrace what lies ahead. He took a hesitant step, gazing into the eyes of a community that had walked trials of their own. Inspiration surged through him like a tide. There was beauty in vulnerability, he realized. Each person present offered pieces of their own pain, transformed into light. Together, he uttered, the word ringing clear in the stillness. It felt like a promise. The villagers moved in unison, forming a circle around him, their hands reaching upward, palms towards the sky. We are with you, David, an elder woman called, her voice melodic and full of encouragement. Your story does not end in darkness, but leads to a shared light. The warmth of their collective spirit cocooned him. David closed his eyes, inhaling deeply as the air thickened with prayer. A wave of energy pulsed through the crowd, flowing from one heart to another. In that sacred moment, he felt grounded, as if the very earth beneath him united with the heavens above. Margaret's voice broke through his reverie. Let us lift our hearts in song, a praise of celebration for the journey that unfolds. And with that, voices rose like incense, spiraling upward in harmony. Each note sang of redemption, of grace, and of the unrelenting love that pieced together their brokenness. The sound washed over David, reverberating in his chest. It struck a chord deep within him, igniting something previously buried. The darkness that often whispered doubts in the quiet corners of his mind began to dissipate, chased away by the brightness of shared faith. He lifted his hands, slowly joining the chorus. Yet, as freedom filled the air, another feeling tugged at him, a lingering fear of returning to the shadows. What if this moment was fleeting? As though sensing his turmoil, Margaret's voice pierced through his uncertainty, let not your heart be troubled, for every step in faith emboldens the spirit. With every heartbeat, a deeper conviction took root. He opened his eyes, meeting the gaze of those surrounding him. Will you help me find my way? Will we journey together? He called out, heart pounding with possibility. A chorus of affirmations rippled through the circle, kindling his courage and binding them in a tapestry of trust. Yes. They replied, harmonizing in a singular voice of our shared path. Just then, a blare of laughter erupted from a child at the back. She danced around, twirling and beckoning others to join her. With innocence and joy, she embodied the very essence of what they sought: a return to purity, a revival of spirit. As she spun under the starlit sky, David couldn't help but smile. In her movement, he saw a reflection of freedom, a reminder that life, even amid struggles, could burst forth in joy. Still, even in this time of awakening, he felt a whisper of something more. Would the road ahead be as simple as it felt now? He felt a spark of divine promise, but what tests might come with this fresh resolve? Lord, he murmured under his breath, a prayer woven with wonder and uncertainty. What will you reveal as we continue this journey? The stars seemed to shimmer in reply, teasing with the depth of their mystery. And somewhere in that eternal expanse, the answer lingered on the edge of David's growing faith. Perhaps the greatest discovery was not just within himself, but in the unfolding path beneath their feet. What awaited them next on this sacred road? Only time, and a heart open to divine wonder, held the answer. Underneath the vast canvas of twinkling stars, the villagers continued to sway together, their voices now rising like a gentle wave, a melody carried by the night. David felt energy pulsing through him, sparking an awakening he hadn't anticipated. It was no longer just about him, it was about this communion, this vibrant expression of shared faith. As the song crescendoed, a warmth enveloped him, a sound that transcended words filling the air around them. He had seen many seasons of life, watched the tides of joy and sorrow shift through his village, but this moment felt singular, a defining heartbeat of possibility. Each note, like an arrow, pierced through doubt, bringing an understanding that he did not need to walk alone. Open your hearts wider. Let your spirit soar. Margaret's voice floated through the harmony, urging them further. David couldn't help but feel an echo of her encouragement resonating within him. Together, here, under the infinite night above and amidst gathered souls, he sensed the collective spirit morphing into something sacred. Then, all at once, a hush fell over the crowd. The last strains of melody clung to the air before fading into silence, leaving a palpable stillness in its wake. David felt a shift, anointed with an inexplicable peace that settled warmly in his chest. It was as if every worry, every burden he had ever carried, was lifted momentarily. Listen, another villager murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Do you feel that? In that stillness, a gentle breeze swept around them, rustling the leaves overhead, impelling their imaginations. David dared to close his eyes again, tuning into a deeper rhythm. What was the voice of this night? What truth lay hidden amidst the stars? Suddenly, he began to visualize each villager's struggle as a single thread in a tapestry, vividly woven into the fabric of their lives. In this shared moment, David realized his story locked arms with theirs, each experience becoming a part of something much greater. They were not merely souls adrift in time, they were threads of a divine design, a collective woven purpose. Margaret's gentle insistence broke through the tranquil cocoon surrounding him. Let the light illuminate. Share what the Lord has done for you. One by one, voices began to rise again, testimonies spilling forth like running water. A man spoke of healing from illness, a woman of finding hope when everything had seemed lost. Each story wove deeper bonds of connection. Each heart echoed David's silent prayer. Inspired, he found his own voice rising, breaking through the layers of hesitance. I used to think that my failures defined who I was, but tonight, I see clearly. We're more than our missteps. We are defined by the love we extend to one another. A gentle hum rippled through the crowd, echoing his spontaneous proclamation. But just as new hope illuminated the space, an unsettling thought flickered in David's mind. Were they truly prepared for the journey ahead? As he scanned the faces around him, he couldn't shake a feeling of impending challenge. They had stepped into the light, yet shadows lingered, hauntingly close. Are we ready for what God might ask of us next? He spoke softly, his gaze earnest. What if our faith is going to be put to the test? In the charged silence that followed, each person reflected on David's words, caught between earlier joy and the soul-stirring weight of upcoming trials. Just then, the child who had danced earlier returned, her laughter cutting through the uncertainty. When we share our stories, we soar higher. She exclaimed, lifting her arms as if trying to embrace the sky. Her innocence penetrated the group, and the tension slowly ebbed away. A flicker of inspiration ignited within David as he witnessed that little spirit untouched by fear, lost in the grace of now. Could it be that they would face any turmoil ahead united in this shared light? Together, David echoed, his heart swelling. We'll rise. We'll overcome. We're not just observers, we are part of this beautiful tapestry. The stars glimmered above, whispering a promise that each bond strengthened them for what lay ahead. Yet, what dares await them around the next corner? As anticipation hummed in the air, David couldn't help but ask, what will we discover about ourselves as we walk into these uncharted waters? And just like that, the future stretched before them, unknown and tinged with the promise of divine adventure. The night air was thick with expectancy, as if the heavens themselves held their breath. David sensed that something significant was unfolding, something that would alter the trajectory of their collective journey. The children, their laughter now echoing soft and sweet, became symbols of pure faith, uninhibited and bright, guiding their elders back to what truly mattered. Look! Someone called out, pointing to the sky. The stars above shimmered even more vibrantly, like celestial golden dust scattering into the night. It was as if the universe itself acknowledged their gathering, a divine wink that reignited hope and wonder. David felt the electricity in the air as a wave of warmth enveloped him. He opened his arms wide, absorbing the glow that seeped into his very being. What if, he began, his voice steady, this moment is our invitation to dig deeper. To really see what it means to believe. Around him, the villagers nodded, eyes glistening with a newfound determination. They were in this together, drawn into the heart of something magnificent. The gentle rustling of leaves seemed almost to respond, whispering back the promise that they were never alone. Margaret stepped forward, her voice unwavering. What if the trials ahead are merely stepping stones, each one revealing a part of our purpose? Did we not just witness the power of our shared stories? There is strength here. There is light. Yes. The villagers echoed, their voices rising like a choir once more, filled with conviction and camaraderie. Each heart beat in rhythm, anchored by faith and the unshakable bonds forged in the fires of shared experience. Yet, even amidst their joy, a shadow loomed in David's mind, a wrinkle in the fabric of their optimistic tapestry. But what if we stumble? He asked, a thread of honesty woven into his words. What if we confront doubts that threaten to consume us? The air shifted, an unspoken acknowledgement passing between them. There was fear, they couldn't deny it. But nestled in that fear was a flicker of bravery, an unquenchable spirit that spurred them on. David watched as the child, the one who danced so freely, twirled, her spirit undeterred, as if she could sense the miraculous potential coiled within their hearts. What if, instead of retreating, we leaned into the challenges? David breathed deeply. With newfound clarity, he continued, what if we choose to see each step of this journey as a lesson, a chance to grow into the divine purpose we're meant for? The villagers exchanged glances, their hearts intertwining, sensing urgency amidst the call to action. An elder stepped forward, his voice steady and ancient. Each storm that comes our way is not our defeat, it's an opportunity for us to lean on one another. We are stronger together, a force united in faith. As murmurs of agreement spread, David felt an overwhelming sense of excitement, a pulse of divine energy radiating from their shared expression of hope. Together, they were challenging the looming shadows, ready to confront the uncertainty ahead with unwavering resolve. Let us prepare our hearts, Margaret encouraged, to welcome whatever God may reveal in the seasons to come. There will be miracles in the struggles. And with that affirmation, a bright warmth enveloped them again, illuminating their surroundings, as they raised their voices unitedly. The melody they sang was not just one of praise but a declaration life would not be defined by their challenges but would be colored by the grace in which they faced them. As the final notes of their song shimmered into the cool night, David felt a sacred whisper in his heart, a delicate urging drawing him into deeper trust. What wondrous manifestations awaited them on their horizon? With his spirit ablaze, he wondered aloud, can we believe that each step forward leads us closer to a moment where we will witness divine intervention in our lives? And as the stars twinkled above, the implications hung in the air, beckoning them to venture deeper into the unknown. What revelations lay just beyond the horizon, waiting to unfold the miracle of their faith journey? The night seemed to hold its breath, waiting for an answer. David stood among the villagers, feeling their heartbeats sync with the rhythm of the universe. They were intertwined, not just as individuals, but as a collective spirit, resonating with an unseen presence. The warmth of that bond wrapped around them, like a comforting blanket on a chilly evening. Margaret looked up, captivated by the stars that danced above them. "Do you see them?" she asked. "Those stars are not distant, they are connected to us, shining a light on our journey." Her words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. Each star felt like a promise, a reminder that they were never truly alone. "Yes," someone called out from the back. "We are part of something much greater." The villagers echoed these words, their voices rising, mingling with the rustling leaves, creating an unbreakable melody of hope. David's heart swelled at the sight before him, a tapestry woven of faith, dreams, and the promise of divine alignment. In that moment, David noticed the child dancing once again, her innocence unmarred by doubt. Her laughter was the purest sound, mingling with the wind, and it filled the hearts of those around her with joy. How easily she surrendered to the music of the night. Her presence reminded them all of the faith that a child possesses, untouched by the fears that often burden adults. What if we held on to that childlike trust? David pondered, feeling a new sense of purpose surge through him. What if we embraced the mysteries ahead as children who trust their parents, confident that every twist and turn holds a lesson designed for us? Yes, trust. Margaret reiterated, her voice now imbued with an even deeper conviction. What if our faith is like these stars? No matter how dim it may seem, it still holds beauty and potential. It still leads us home. A palpable energy threaded through the gathered souls. They stood taller, shoulders squared against the uncertainties of tomorrow. David felt it. This was more than mere words, it was a collective heartbeat, resonating with an unwavering promise that God walked among them. "Each of us carries a flicker of that divine spark," he announced, aiming his words at all corners of the gathering. "In the darkness, we light the path for each other, in our struggles, we find strength. What if we dared to share our fears boldly, reclaiming the power that comes from vulnerability?" The air thickened with emotion as eyes met eyes, and hearts opened. A younger villager voiced what many were thinking: what if our struggles were part of the grand design? Each one a chance to unveil our true selves. The laughter and murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. David felt a sense of urgency. They had accepted their calling, deciding that each challenge would be a stepping stone rather than a barrier. "Let us step forward with courage," David declared, each word igniting a spark. "Let us hold our heads high, for the dawn of a new day awaits us, emboldened by faith. Miracles are on the brink, wonderful things are set before us." Just then, they heard a rustle in the nearby trees. Something grand, unnameable, was drawing near. David felt his heart race, a mix of awe and unknowing washed over him. What lies ahead? He whispered to himself, still feeling the pull of anticipation. A divine presence seemed to linger in the air, heavy with potential. Would they be ready for what was about to unfold? Would they embrace the miraculous in their midst? The stars blinked knowingly, nudging them forward into the vast expanse of possibility. Embarking on this journey, could they truly believe that every moment held the key to the divine revelations waiting just ahead? What would they discover about themselves, their purpose, and each other as they ventured into the great unknown? The rustling grew louder, and tension hummed in the air like a guitar string drawn to its tautest. David could see the villagers shift, faces illuminated by the stars swirling above. A wave of anticipation rippled through them, a collective yearning for the unknown that unfolded just beyond sight. As the night deepened, a figure emerged from the shadows of the trees. Soft, radiant light followed it like a halo. David's breath caught in his throat. Was it a figment of his imagination, or was God sending them a messenger to guide their hearts through this moment of mystery? The figure stood motionless, its presence instantly commanding reverence. Whispers darted among the villagers, eyes wide with a mixture of fear and wonder. Margaret stepped forward, her heart a buoyant offering, her voice steady but trembling. "Who are you?" The figure tilted its head slightly, a knowing smile spreading across its face. "I am here to remind you of the divine thread that connects you all," it said, voice soft yet resonant. "Each of you is woven into the fabric of creation, stitched together by threads of love, hope, and courage." David felt an inexplicable warmth wash over him, filling the spaces of doubt that had lingered in his heart. It was as if every sacred word wrapped around him, drawing out the fears he had kept buried. The villagers stood still, entranced, each absorbing the truth like parched earth drinking rain. "What does it mean for us?" he called out, the urgency of the moment propelling his question into the quiet of the night. The figure continued, "You are not mere observers in your lives. You are participants in a grand tapestry. Each struggle is a brush stroke, each joy a flicker of light. You are invited to paint boldly, to trust in the artistry of the divine." A gasp rippled through the crowd. These were words of power. Hope sparked in David's chest. He could feel the weight of the night lifting, replaced by the lightness of possibility. Could it be that every challenge they faced was reshaping them, guiding them towards something beautiful? "Every time you choose love over fear, you illuminate a path for others," the figure spoke again, the resonance of its voice echoing in the hearts of those present. "What does your heart whisper during your darkest hours? In what ways can you reflect the divine spark you carry?" The villagers exchanged glances, igniting a quiet conversation of thoughts and spirits intertwining. David understood. This was a sacred call, a chance to not just witness the miraculous, but to embody it. As if reading his thoughts, the figure smiled gently, "Embrace the unknown. Embrace each other. Your unity, your trust in the journey, will unveil wonders untold." With those words, the figure slowly began to dissolve into the night, shimmering away like stardust carried by the wind. Gasps filled the air, hearts raced what had just occurred. The villagers were left in a spell of silence, the message echoing louder than any words. "This is just the beginning," David breathed, emotion swelling within him, his voice steadier now. "Let us honor what we've been shown. This is our invitation to create, to weave our own destinies, shining like those very stars." Joy surged through the atmosphere. They huddled in closer unity, hearts alight with purpose and devotion. But even as dawn approached, casting its first soft glow over the horizon, a lingering question hung in the air: what sacred realities awaited them as they stepped into this divine invitation? What miracles awaited just beyond their reach? David caught a breath, feeling the sacred urgency ripple through the group. This was not just about them, it was about each life intertwined, waiting for their moment to shine. As silence settled over the villagers, an electric energy pulsed through the air, vibrant with possibility. David's heart raced with anticipation. He scanned the faces around him, each one a canvas of wonder and hope. "Let us gather together," he urged, stepping toward the center. "Let us share what resides within us, for we are indeed part of a grand masterpiece." The villagers formed a circle, their hands interlocking, and David felt the strength of their connection anchoring him. It was as if the very earth hummed beneath their feet, alive with spiritual resonance. "What have you learned tonight? What stirrings are igniting in your hearts?" Margaret spoke first, her voice trembling yet strong. "I've realized that my struggles are not in vain. They are brush strokes in my painting, shaping me into someone who can transmit love." Her eyes glistened with sincerity. That simple truth seemed to unravel the tension in the air. Others followed suit, sharing their insights about love, fear, and the sacred ties that bound them together. Each word became a thread woven into the shared tapestry, strands of vulnerability and strength intertwined with cosmic elegance. David listened, wrapped in their reflections. Each story resonated as echoing bells of truth, ringing through the collective spirit of the village. In that moment, he marveled at the beauty created when they came together. As sunlight began to break, glowing softly over the horizon, David felt a wave of warmth wash over him. "Look!" he exclaimed, pointing upward. The first light of dawn comes as a reminder that hope rises after the darkest nights. This is a gift, a chance to illuminate our lives. The villagers shifted their gaze, a flicker of realization lighting their eyes. They could shape the day together, painting it with love and courage. They had been given divine purpose, an invitation to be active co-creators with God. "Let us not waste this moment," David said, fervor coursing through him. "Today, we shall write our sacred story. What shall we create? How can we show our light to the world?" There was a communal nod, a silent agreement that united their spirits. With renewed vigor, they began to share dreams and ideas, seeds of possibility sprouting in their hearts. It was a cornucopia of inspiration. Some spoke of healing the land, others of sharing kindness with those in need, or even starting festivities to celebrate community. In the midst of their enthusiasm, a gentle breeze rustled through the trees, almost as if the very spirit of the universe was joining their conversation. David closed his eyes for a moment, feeling the cool wind brush against his face, inviting him to trust the path ahead. "Remember," he said, the weight of each word settling lovingly within the circle. "This journey will not always be easy. Doubts may return, shadows might loom. But if we hold fast to our love and the divine thread, we can illuminate even the heaviest of moments." As David opened his eyes, he caught sight of a flicker of light dancing in the leaves above. It glimmered like the stars that had arrived with the figure, and he felt it deep within his soul, a reminder of the sacred journey that had just begun. In that shared space, laughter and joyous voices filled the air as excitement brewed. They began to imagine tomorrow, not just today, envisioning the miracles that faith could manifest, the lives they could touch. Yet, beneath the surface, an unspoken question lingered. Were they truly ready to embrace the daunting beauty of what lay ahead? What tests of faith awaited them on their new path? And as the sun fully rose, painting the sky in brilliant hues, David's thoughts echoed through his spirit. What divine surprises awaited when they stepped boldly into the unknown? Each face glowed with potential, but it was just the beginning of something wondrous. As dawn broke over St. Mary's Chapel, the radiant light seemed to awaken hearts and spirits anew. The villagers stood shoulder to shoulder, anticipation dancing in the air like shimmering rays of hope. David felt the warmth of the sun on his face, but deeper still, he felt the embrace of a divine promise encircling them all. "Today is not just any day," he exclaimed, his voice lifting as the chords of excitement strummed through the group. "Today, we step into a new chapter. We are called to be the change, to share our light with the world." The villagers nodded, hearts beating as one. Their eyes sparkled with a shared vision, a blossoming dream rooted in faith and love. Margaret held David's hand tightly, feeling her son's pulse, the steady rhythm of renewal. Together, she whispered, the strength of a community encrypted in those simple words. Her heart soared as she gazed at his resolute expression. "We've witnessed enough of God's grace to believe in miracles." As they gathered around, the familiar voice of an elder rose, breaking through the moment with his sage wisdom. "Let us not keep this love hidden. Our stories are threads that weave us closer to one another, and it is in sharing them that we will light our way forward." With those words, the villagers began to stand up, one by one, each willing to share their journey. A young farmer spoke of the barren soil now buzzing with life after he had sowed seeds of faith and trust. A widow shared the joy of finding a family within this community after her deep loneliness. Each testimony rang out like a bell that brought clarity, reverberating against the walls of uncertainty that fear had built. David, feeling emboldened by their courage, stood taller. Each story is a step toward the light. It is proof that our struggles don't define us, rather, they shape us, allowing God to work through our lives. His words ignited a kindling of faith, each villager reflecting the glimmer of the morning sun. Margaret, feeling a wave of divine confidence, stepped forward too. "When we lean on each other, we become stronger. We create an unbroken tapestry, bright and resilient." Her eyes welled with tears of joy as she felt the truth of her voice resonate within the crowd. Then a child's innocent laughter bubbled up, drawing everyone's attention. It was their sparkle of hope, a gentle reminder of the promise embodied in every child. We can be brave like the heroes in our stories. The little girl exclaimed, spinning joyfully as she danced among them. Will you share your light with me? Laughter erupted, filling the air with joyous unity. The boundaries of individuality began to dissolve, knitting them together under the vibrant arch of faith. As the sun climbed higher, so did their spirits. An unprecedented excitement danced among them, each pulse grounding itself deeper into the earth. They were ready, a collective intent thrumming, signaling that they would embrace each challenge that lay ahead with fortitude and grace. I say we embark not just on our own stories, but on a mission to touch lives beyond this village. David spoke with fervor. Let our hands be extensions of love. Let us serve those who are lost, share the light of hope, and inspire others to triumph over their darkness. A ripple of enthusiasm surged through the crowd, individuals stepping forward to brainstorm, each suggesting ways to spread this newfound light beyond their village. As they shared ideas, each word planted seeds of possibility that bloomed into a multitude of actions, a harvest of love. David felt a wave of inspiration weaving through him. Let us create a plan to help the lonely, the sick, those in despair. Together we'll vest our efforts, showing that hope is never out of reach. We can start with a community feast. One villager chimed in. We welcome those who feel forgotten, share stories, and offer comfort through our bond. Yes. Another shouted. Let us open our arms wide. Let us be the love we've received. Amid this joyful cacophony, a low murmur of prayer began to rise, flowing through their gathering like a sacred river. Hands reached upward, faces illuminated by light, voices intertwined in a harmony that echoed off the chapel walls. Lord, David breathed, we offer ourselves as vessels of hope. Let our faith radiate beyond us, touching each heart that feels far from grace. A profound silence took hold as they turned their ears to the heavens. It was as if the universe leaned in closer, watching over what they would create. As the morning light flooded the village, the villagers embraced the warmth growing from within and around them. Amid the fervor of dreams, David paused to listen what divine truth was still lingering. In that moment of reflection, he witnessed the countless stars blipping across the vast dome of the sky, igniting memories of their last gathering. Perhaps, he whispered, a realization dawning, this journey is not solely for us, but for those yet to come who will take our stories and make them their own. Each villager began to chant unison. Their voices rose like incense to the heavens, forming a collective offering. The joy of hope echoed through the village as if woven into the very fabric of creation. With one heart, they exclaimed, we will not be mere observers. Together, we are creators of love, laughter, and light. And so, with sacred promise in their hearts and light dancing in their souls, the community ventured forth, united in purpose. Each step they took carved new paths for those still lost in shadows, lighting the way with stories of faith and transformation. The day was only just beginning, and with joy and hope woven tightly together, they chose to embrace every sunrise as an invitation to manifest the miraculous in every heart and every life. It was a new dawn. A new journey awaited. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you won't miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and spread these uplifting tales. Comment your reactions and testimonies about this powerful ending. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this divine manifestation. Together, let us illuminate the world with the truth of shared faith. You'll be blessed for it.